That's easy, huh? Making my job easy today. Okay. The Nectar of Devotion by Śrīla Rupa Goswami, translated by Śrīla Prabhupada. Chapter 14, Devotional Qualifications. Some scholars recommend that knowledge and renunciation are important factors for elevating oneself to devotional service. But actually, that is not a fact. Actually, the cultivation of knowledge or renunciation, which are favorable for achieving a footing in Krishna consciousness, may be accepted in the beginning, but ultimately they may also come to be rejected. For devotional service is dependent on nothing other than the sentiment or desire for such service. It requires nothing more than sincerity. So in the beginning of devotional service, we're ignorant. We have no knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the spiritual world or the ways and means to reach them. So in the beginning, there's some education of transcendental knowledge. However, we can't become attached to this knowledge because no knowledge is complete. No knowledge is perfect. In the sense that no amount of knowledge, but how much knowledge can be contained in a book? Even a very thick book really can't contain that much knowledge. There's an unlimited amount of things to know about God. God is unlimited. So any book is limited by its very nature. Nobody can write an unlimited book. Nobody could write a book that would describe all the possibilities of devotional service. At some point, we have to actually practice it ourselves. And Krishna has to reveal himself from within. Just reading a book won't get it. It won't bring us to the goal that we want to attain. We have to practice devotional service, and when we practice it, then Krishna enlightens us from within. He says in Bhagavad-gītā, I, dwelling within their hearts, destroy with the lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. He doesn't say, you read a book and that destroys the darkness of ignorance. No, because a book can't possibly express everything there is to know about Krishna. Only Krishna can do that himself. So we have to be brought into direct contact with Krishna through our devotional service. If somebody asks, how can I do that? You can't do that. You can't. You have to simply qualify yourself, and then Krishna will do it. Krishna will reveal himself. He's the only one who has the power. Just like if you say, I'm going to figure out what Babaji is thinking. And then you have all these different methods of, augury. We'll do the astrology, we'll do the numerology, we'll throw dice, that's what it is. Somehow or other you're trying to, and I'm just sitting here going, anti-disestablishmentarianism. You'll never figure it out. You'll never figure out what I'm thinking. Only if I tell you, then you'll know. Because why? Our consciousnesses are individual. We're individuals. So you can't know the contents of my consciousness unless I tell you. So, similarly, Krishna is also an individual. We can't know what's on his mind unless he tells us. So how do we know what Krishna has in mind for us? How do we know what Krishna wants from us? How do we know how we're going to satisfy Krishna? Only if he tells us. See? My realization is that Krishna creates every living entity for a specific purpose in his service. A specific service function that only you can do. So your task is to discover what is that function. What is that thing? What is that, the qualities that you possess that are actually you, that are eternal. and that Krishna made that, genetically engineered you, especially to offer to him as your eternal service. What are those qualities that are so baked in so deeply to your consciousness that you couldn't change them even if your life depended on it? Huh? That's the real you. And that is the way Krishna created you, just for his service. And if you engage those qualities in his service, he'll be very satisfied. So you have to figure that out. And you can only know that if Krishna reveals it to you. You can't know it because there's no way to tell, from our point of view, which of our qualities are temporary and which are eternal, which are relative and which are absolute. There's no way to know. Krishna has to reveal that by revealing his relationship with you. And only he can do that. So that means we have to attain Krishna consciousness, direct consciousness of Krishna. Otherwise, there's no meaning to the idea of self-realization. There's no meaning to the concept of devotional service. Because how are we going to know what Krishna wants? There's a million different things described in the scriptures that we could do to serve Krishna. But what's the one thing that he wants us to do? What is that role? What is that relationship? That he has to reveal. No book can do that. It is the opinion of expert devotees that mental speculation and the artificial austerities of yoga practice may be favorable for becoming liberated from material contamination, but they will also make one's heart harder and harder. They will not help at all in the progress of devotional service. These processes are therefore not favorable for entering into the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Actually, Krishna consciousness, devotional service itself, is the only way of advancing in devotional life. Devotional service is absolute. It is both the cause and the effect. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause and effect of all that be. And to approach him, the Absolute, the process of devotional service, which is also absolute, has to be adopted. Wrap your brain around that. So basically it's the impersonalists who preach this. Well, you have to become very knowledgeable. You have to study all these things. And then once you know, then you can realize. No, because we see in practice what happens. When a person, for example, Śrīla Prabhupada instructed his devotees not to go to mundane universities. But of course, several of them did anyway. And guess what happened? They became the chief players in the revolution against Śrīla Prabhupada within ISKCON. Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Hridayananda Goswami, they went to college against Śrīla Prabhupada's orders. They went to university, and just today I read the unpublished doctoral thesis of Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And it is such a work of mental speculation as you would not believe. I mean, it's so out there. It's like, where did he get this from? Basically, he's saying that Śrīla Prabhupada is not absolute and that his theology should be questioned and on and on like this. So this is subversive to devotional service. But it's, in terms of jnana, it's very good. It's first class mental speculation. And I'm sure he got rave reviews from the academic world. But that meant that he was an offender at the feet of his spiritual master. And because of this, Krishna took him out. Krishna himself killed him. Got him out of the way. Since then, the other one has become very, very quiet. So we should understand that these qualities, which are considered very nice in material estimation, are actually disqualifications for entering into the devotional service of the Lord, because they make one's heart very hard. We have practical experience of this. Many, many years of practical experience of this. So, the Lord is both the cause and the effect. See, this is our philosophy. Achintya bhed abhed tattva. In material logic or material reasoning, the same object cannot be both the cause and the effect. See, but in transcendental logic, there's no problem with that. The Lord can be both the cause and the effect, and still He is one. So this is transcendental logic. In the transcendental world, 1 + 1 = 1. 1 -